All right. Well, good morning. Thank you so much for attending. This is the study permits and COVID-19 session for our new students who are starting in fall. And it is presented by myself, Jessica Peakman, and John Fernando here. So I'll let John introduce himself first.
Thanks, Jessica. Hi, my name is John Fernando. Welcome to the UFV family. I'm currently working from home, so if you see a cat walking by, have patience with us. We are all getting used to COVID-19. I was born in Sri Lanka and later moved to Australia to complete post-secondary studies before migrating to Canada. I'm a regulated immigration consultant in good standing, and my role at the university is to support you, our international students, needing help to understand often complex Canadian immigration rules and regulations. Over the last 10 or 12 weeks, there has been a change to the immigration landscape, not only to the general population, but also for new incoming students. So today's workshop, we will be looking at important immigration updates to accommodate distance learning during COVID-19. It is a time-sensitive info. That's why we have put a date stamp on our slides. Thank you. Over to you, Jessica.
Okay, thanks. So as I mentioned, my name's Jessica Peakman. I am the International Student Relations Specialist Medical with UFV International. I'm here today primarily to help John moderate this session, as well as provide some additional information surrounding student support services. Just to give you some background information of me, I was born and raised right in the Abbotsford area, so I'm very familiar with this area. And I have been working for UFV for about 4 years now. I am also a graduate of UFV, so I obviously think UFV is a great school to study at, and I'm excited for you to begin your studies in the fall. All right, so let's move on here. Okay. So I'm going to give a land acknowledgement, and then after I give the land acknowledgement, I'll give a little bit of an explanation of why we do this and what it is, because you may not have heard of it before. So the University of the Fraser Valley is situated on the unceded traditional territory of the Stalo peoples. We express our gratitude and respect for the honor of living and working in this territory. So you'll probably hear a land acknowledgement quite a few times throughout your studies at UFV. They're usually given at sessions, workshops, any large events, once we do go back to having large events. And the reason these are given is because UFV is, the campus is on the territory of the Stalo people, who are the Indigenous people to this land, the native people to this land. So they were here prior to when Europeans came and colonized Canada in this area. So we like to acknowledge that this is their territory, and we're thankful to be learning and teaching and working here today. So moving on. So these are just some housekeeping rules. So you are muted upon entry. Please keep your mic and video off throughout the presentation, and then we'll have time for questions towards the end. Please use the chat box to communicate to us and others attending the session. And we'll be using Mentimeter to conduct a quick poll. You can open a new tab or use a different device and go to www.menti.com. So if you want to do that now, that would be good, because we're going into that section of the session now. First, I'll just go over today's goals. So the goal is to meet and get connected to UFV International staff. So me and John today, we also have quite a few other team members who do great work and provide other support services, and we'll be talking a bit about that towards the end of the presentation. And the main reason why you're here today is to become familiar with important immigration updates related to COVID-19. And lastly, to become familiar with available immigration and other support services that will be available to you as a student. Okay, so this is when we'll start the poll. So if you want to go to Menti, www.menti.com and enter the following code, and then we'll go through some questions. And then I am going to have to stop screen sharing here pretty quick and pull up the Mentimeter. So I'm just gonna write that code down because that page will be coming down shortly here. Okay, so stop sharing. Okay. Okay, so if you're ready, type your name and what country you are joining this session from. John, you should answer the questions too.
Okay, but right now I have only one screen, so
That's okay.
I don't want to mess up the flow. We had one person extra who joined later, but I think maybe due to some issues they had left. They probably trying to come back.
Okay, so we still just have one student with us?
Correct.
Okay. And that's still Love Deep?
No, it says ASUS.
Oh, okay. Okay, so to anyone that's hearing the session, if you want to go to www.menti.com and use the code at the top, 870275, and then we will answer these questions. If the attendees don't have access to open menti.com, we can also just skip this part, but I'll give it a few more minutes here. Okay, so I think we'll just skip this part then and move right on to the rest of the PowerPoint. So I believe that would be you then, John, if you want to start sharing your screen.
Oh, okay. You're not able to share from your side? Continue
I
on?
can.
Yes,
Yep.
please. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'll let you know when to go in.
Okay. Oops, go back. All right, there you are.
One back. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jessica. So let's have a look at the study permit application process during the COVID-19. So number one, it says here, due to the closure and limited operations of some visa application centers, U.S. application support centers, and limited access to IRCC, study permit applicants may be unable to give their biometrics, undergo medical examinations, submit their original travel documents. So in this scenario, applications should include an explanatory note detailing the circumstances that are beyond your control to complete that application. IRCC has indicated no application will be refused if incomplete or miss a deadline for providing a document. So I'm pleased to say IRCC is very sensitive in their approach and at the same time do not want to compromise the integrity of the program. So that's why the second point, processing officers have been requested to send letters reminding for the missing documents and extending the deadline to further 90 days. And finally, applicants who do not have the required documents for the SDS at the time of submission have been directed to apply through the regular study permit channels or apply through the SDS once the service resumes and they are able to submit the required documents. Thank you. Next. Okay, so now let's have a look at distance learning. The online courses won't affect your post-graduation work permit program eligibility. So number one, if your in-class courses are being moved to an online-only format because of COVID-19, you are still eligible for the post-graduation work permit program. So basically, on May 14th, IRCC made a temporary and a time-limited policy change due to COVID-19 to recognize that distance learning as a key to your study experience will not affect your program eligibility. So basically, University of Fraser Valley is a public post-secondary institution. Hence, our programs are approved for up to 3 years full-time work permit upon graduation. Okay. So the key to distance learning that they're talking about is that you need to be enrolled with courses online or distance learning offered by the UFV Canada. So further to the second point, if you have a study permit or been approved for a study permit for programs starting in the spring, summer or fall, but you cannot travel to Canada at this time due to travel restrictions, you are also still eligible for the post-graduation work permit. Okay, so in this situation, you may begin your classes while outside Canada, and at the moment, complete up to 50% of your program while outside of Canada. You cannot travel to if you cannot travel to Canada sooner. And the last is, as you are coming for the fall 2020, you won't have time deducted from the length of your post-graduation work permit for studies you completed while outside Canada while you're taking fall 2020 courses. Okay? And this communication is valid until December 31st, 2020. Thank you. Okay, so now let's have a look at when you do have to get a chance to come to Canada. Okay, so mandatory quarantine. You must have a plan to quarantine for 14 days when you arrive to Canada. This is mandatory even if you have no symptoms. If you don't have a plan, you should not travel to Canada. So the penalties are rather severe. Okay. A fine up to $750,000, 6 months of jail time, or being found inadmissible, removed from Canada, and banned from entering for 1 year. Okay, so basically, what this means is air travel and border measures have been implemented to protect the health and safety of Canadians. Okay, so this plan, what does this involve? So evidence of a quarantine plan is basically you need to have in writing a plan as simple as where will you stay? So the exact contact mailing, the location address. How will you get groceries and medication without going to the store in that 14 days? So you need to be accountable for every single day. Okay, it has to be given in writing. And lastly, where there will be vulnerable people where you are staying. So basically, when you're talking about vulnerable people, typically the ages of 65 of age or more. Continuing on, you are traveling for non-optional, non-discretionary purposes. So studying in Canada, if you have been approved prior to March 18, 2020, that is considered that you have been exempted from from the travel restrictions. Okay, so basically, when they're talking about optional or discretionary international travel, they're talking about if you have the option of this trip to do with tourism, recreation, even to attend a funeral of a family member, birth of a cousin, that at the moment is restricted. So, and lastly, if you do a Google search for Arrive Can app, either from the Google Store or from the Apple Store, that and download that. That will enable you to reduce wait times at arrival and limit contact at the border. So as we were doing this preparing for the presentation last night, there is in the pipeline of a new update coming today to reflect the resumption of processing temporary resident visas, TRVs submitted online or and electronic travel authorization applications. Okay, so there is an update coming, so stay tuned. And so because as I mentioned, this is a fluid situation and this information gets updated daily. Thank you very much. Over to you, Jessica.
You have one more slide.
Oh, yes, I forgot. So as you can see, we at UFV, I'm pleased to announce all these workshops that I'm showing in the front there on the slide, as well as the virtual drop-ins, are now delivered online. Therefore, you are not alone, okay? I'm only a click away. So we have I've given you the dates there, and I've given you the links. You're welcome to take a picture of that slide. Because as you are as you are currently a student coming for the fall semester, you have access to all these resources. And Jessica is going to tell you further about other cool things that are happening for you. Thank you very much, Jessica.
Hey, thank you, John. That was great information. All right, so I'm going to be talking about other support services within our department. So there's lots of support services at UFV, but I'm just going to specifically talk about the ones that UFV International offers. So the first one I want to talk about is our engagement team. So they are the staff members who plan activities that are meant to engage you, connect you with staff, other students, whether that be domestic students or other international students. So one really great thing that they are doing right now is they have something called the Global Lounge Hub. So in our department at UFE, we have a front area where students come and they socialize, they do their homework, we have events there, other activities, game nights, and that area is called the Global Lounge. So what our engagement team has done is they wanted to create this space virtually. So they've created the Global Lounge Hub. So that's a place you can go and get connected with other UFE students, like I mentioned, play some games. There's a language exchange program there where you can learn other languages from other students studying at UFE. So I really encourage you to check that out. You can find more info at the international.ufe.ca. The engagement team is also the team who does a phenomenal job at planning our orientation. So you will see their faces at orientation probably at the end of August. So keep an eye out for emails about that orientation as well. And then we also have our settlement transition and support worker, Adrian Bontuyan. He provides one-on-one virtual student support. If you have, feeling overwhelmed, you have some questions and you're not sure where to go to at UFE or who to contact, he's always a great starting point. He can help refer you to different areas of UFE if you're struggling with your studies, if you're struggling with your mental health. he's a great resource. And again, same link at the bottom. You can find the information on how you can connect with him. He also runs 2 really great programs, one called Step Cafe, where me and John actually participate in this program as well. It's where you can come and ask any questions you might have related to student support, advising, immigration, medical insurance, and student accounts. It's a great place if you have multiple questions for multiple of us and you want to get them all answered at once. Students really enjoy being able to do that. So I encourage you to attend that as well if you have lots of questions. And then he also runs a program called Friends Without Borders, which is a program meant to connect international and domestic students and just get connected and learn about each other and play games. So again, I would check that one out. And then we also have assistance when it comes to medical insurance, which is what I do, student accounts, so that's like tuition, understanding your tuition and fees, as well as registration. So we have virtual drop-ins coming for all of those topics. And once those are ready to go, the drop-ins, the information will be at international.ufe.ca. And that should be within the next week or 2. So I encourage you to attend one of those if you have any questions related to those areas. So moving on. Okay, and I want to talk about some other information sessions our department's offering for you. So we have an International Parent and Supporters session coming up on Tuesday, June 16th at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I really encourage you to let your parents or your supporters know about this session so they can get the information they might be looking for. And this one's hosted by our director, Kara Bertram, and she's got lots of great information. So again, I encourage you to let your parents or supporters know about that one. And then we also have an International Student Engagement Services and Support session, which will go into much more detail about those support services I just mentioned. So we have one happening Thursday, June 11th at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and another one at Thursday, June 18th at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So hopefully those timings will work for you wherever you are. And yeah, they're really informative, so I highly recommend attending. Okay. John had a really great idea of talking about a message from UFV's president. So her name is Dr. Joanne McLean. She's the president and vice chancellor of UFV. She recently released a message on studying during COVID-19, and we wanted to share that information with you. So I'm just going to read this quote here. UFE believes that education is for everyone, no matter your background, and the challenges of this moment we find ourselves in have not changed that. We want you to learn, to develop a strong connection to this community, and to experience all the possibilities a university education brings. We want to help you achieve all that you can imagine and more. And we are here to support you as you chase your dreams in a complex and unfamiliar environment. Now is a great time to learn, and higher education provides a tremendous opportunity to make positive things happen. I hope you seize the opportunity. So I think probably what me and John both really like about this is the idea of it may seem like an overwhelming time to start your studies because you'll likely be starting from outside of Canada, or even if you're in Canada, you'll still be studying online. But we really feel like it's a great time to start your studies because there's never a bad time to be learning. And it'll give you that head start instead of waiting until this COVID-19 pandemic ends. It'll really give you that head start and you'll be on your way to your goals. So we really do encourage you to start your studies in fall. And like Dr. Joanne McLean said, seize the opportunity. So, okay. So moving on here. Thank you so much for those that attended. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to help. And we encourage you to attend the other sessions mentioned. We have recorded this session, so you will be able to access it by returning to that Discover Your UFV page. They will be listed there if you want to refer back to this information. So Thank you so much and have a good rest of your day or evening wherever you might be.